Hey indie fans, Tom here, and today we are bringing you some of the best indie games coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2020. We've narrowed it down to 20 games to fit the 2020 theme, all of different genres and styles in order to showcase some of the brilliant games we will be seeing this year on the Switch, of course. If you're interested in more content like this and want updates on these games throughout the year, then subscribe and be sure to stay tuned to Indie Nexus. Axiom Verge was one of the best Metroidvanias of the 2010s, no questions asked. So how can we not be excited for a sequel? Instantly obvious is the clear visual upgrade and a brand new world to explore. Axiom Verge had a mysterious narrative and everything points to the sequel having a brand new set of secrets to discover and unlock. If the gameplay of the first game is anything to go by, 2020 is set to have another Metroidvania classic to add to the Switch's already expansive library, and we can't wait to get our hands on this one. We don't know too much more about it, but we do know it's going to be coming in fall 2020, so I think the end of the year is set to be brilliant already. Oh, how I long for a new Hollow Knight game, and after having been announced early last year, Silksong feels so close now. Hornet was one of the best characters from the first game in my own opinion, and I am so excited to explore more of this intriguing character, especially with the brand new moveset she will allow us to play around with. Hollow Knight is an indie darling at this point, and I'm sure Team Cherry are going to smash this one out the park. Again, we don't know too much about the release date, but we've been given a rather confident 2020, and everything that I've seen and played so far, having had the chance to play the game at EGX last year, seems to indicate that this is going to be a brilliant sequel to Hollow Knight, and I am so excited to get into this one when it releases this year. Cris Tales is certainly a looker, but it has some interesting gameplay underneath this, well, gorgeous exterior. At first it seems to be your typical JRPG, with turn-based combat and a save the world story that we've all seen a million times before. However, what makes this indie interesting is a time travel mechanic which completely changes how you will fight and how the story will unfold around you. With a dynamically changing world and a time warping combat system, I can't wait to learn more about this one before it releases this year. SkateBIRD is about a budgie who thinks he is Tony Hawk. Well, actually, I guess he's Tony Budgie in a way? That was horrific, wasn't it? Anyway, SkateBIRD gives us the bird skating simulator we never knew we wanted inside a micro world with skate parks built from cardboard and staplers to flip over. I don't know folks, it is really hard to explain such a bizarre game, but it looks just like what I wanted from the ever expanding indie scene. Having been announced in last year's latest indie showcase, I was instantly looking for more details about SkateBIRD, and aside from the memes, it looks set to be a brilliant game, and I can't wait to test this one out this year. Mineko's Night Market has been a long-awaited indie of mine. I mean seriously, I've been waiting for this game since 2018. It was supposed to come out last year, but I guess it didn't. As a lover of the life sim genre, Mineko ticks all the right boxes for me, and it just looks so nice to look at. With lots of jobs to do, people to meet and become friends with, quests to partake in, and of course the weekly night market to prepare for. I am ready for Mineko's Night Market to suck me from reality in 2020. Of course this is assuming Animal Crossing hasn't done so already. I think the release of this one is going to be quite important for its success, but as long as it doesn't clash too much with Animal Crossing, I'm definitely going to pick this game up, and you should too. I played Moving Out at EGX this year, and I can honestly say that it is the most fun I've had with a party game in years, and definitely on the Switch. On the surface, the idea of moving furniture into a moving truck is really dull. I mean, of course it is, but add a fantastic physics engine which is designed to screw you over and smashable objects, and well, you have a winning formula. I knew Moving Out was going to be amazing when I tried to move a fridge out of a tight door frame, accidentally let go of it and saw it smashed through a window. A sequence which ended with me wheezing and struggling to stop laughing for 5 minutes. Honestly, this game was so fun to play. I'm smiling now just thinking about it, and I cannot wait to get it into the hands of more people this year. Roki is another game I demoed at EGX, and it was a fun experience for sure. It reminded me of old adventure games with some really intuitive puzzles in place and a really well made environment to play in. The puzzles were very logic based, and I really liked this. They were very, something makes sense and I tried to do it and it would work, and I really enjoy that in a game. The Scandinavian folklore influence is clear, and I think Roki is going to be a great narrative experience to play through alongside some more action packed games this year. The developers too are really passionate about this one, and it's really clear why, and I think they've put so much into this that I can't see it not being a brilliant game when it comes out. Part 3 of the EGX haul, Unto the End, is a game I am really excited to play again. It has one of the best and most fluid 2D combat systems I've ever seen. And that was watching one of the developers play it. I was useless. Despite this, the idea that the combat can be that good when someone has mastered it really excites me. It has fantastic presentation too, and it feels exceptionally well made when I was playing it. And I think this is going to be one of the gems of indie gaming this year. Hopefully it finds the audience it deserves though and doesn't get ignored too much. Probably the earliest release on our list, in fact it definitely is. Skellboy is coming out on the 30th of January after a delay from December, but it looks like the delay has been for the best because it looks brilliant. I'm always on the lookout for a game with something unique going on, and the body swapping aspect of Skellboy has me really interested in seeing how it's used. It also has a really nice visual style, and from seeing the trailers so far there seems to be a lot going on in this action RPG set in the aptly named world of Cubold. Not long now folks. Another game I stumbled upon this year at EGX, without even realising, was Eastward, and it was the only demo I completed. I just couldn't stop playing it. You control two characters, both with unique skills and weapons, and you use them to travel the world of Eastward, which is jam-packed with puzzles and monsters to fend off. What I was most impressed by though was the visual style that developers Pixpil have employed, which uses both classic retro pixel art as well as some impressive modern lighting techniques, resulting in a beautifully rendered world that I can't wait to hop into upon release. Think some of the techniques we saw in Octopath Traveler of 2018, but honestly in my opinion, more beautiful and more vibrant. There's so much colour in this one, it really feels like a very homely experience. How do we describe what the golf? Well, it's a golf game which uses a ridiculous physics engine to ramp up the fun and remove the dullness. Basically, it's a golf game for people that don't like golf. What the golf does what more games should be doing. It lets the players have fun, because sometimes all we want to do is sit back and laugh away at the silliness going on in front of us. Oh, and you can play golf using a horse. Enough said. Unfortunately, Crosscode was delayed into 2020, but I guess we're still getting this amazing game, so can we really complain? Crosscode is a 2D action RPG inspired by the SNES era of tremendous RPG games, but with all the trappings of the genre that the modern day has brought. There's tons of puzzles, combat that you can really sink your teeth into, and a sci-fi story to dive into that will make this game one of the best essential Switch indies by the end of 2020. There is so much content in Crosscode that I'm not sure I'll even be able to finish it, but I'm definitely going to try. A spooky affair is up next, and it's another game published by indie champion Chucklefish. Inmost is a story-driven platformer set in an abandoned castle in which the 3 playable characters are trapped in. It first popped up last year and has been on my radar ever since, mainly because the gameplay I've seen looks a lot different from similarly styled games on the eShop. Who doesn't love some sneaking around and trying to figure out a deep dark mystery? I did manage to get a little bit of game time with this one at EGX, and from what I did play, it seems to be coming on pretty well and it feels like a really solid experience, so yeah, stay tuned for this one. Chucklefish don't really let us down very often when they publish these kind of games, so fingers crossed. Golf Story was amazing, and I'm 99% sure that SkateBIRD Games will smash it again with Sports Story. I mean, how can it go wrong? Basically, it is going to be Golf Story, but with loads more sports. Obviously there is an RPG element here too naturally, and it looks like it'll carry over from the original in terms of the quality of this. Aside from the sport, there will also be dungeons to explore, some Metal Gear Solid-esque stealthy segments, and even a little bit of fishing. Although I guess technically that's a sport. I mean, what degree are we counting this fishing? But anyway, mid-2020 cannot come soon enough. This looks like a brilliant package, and we were also interested to know what SkateBIRD were up to. Well, now we know, and it's coming soon. Sailforth caught my eye in the latest indie showcase, and having looked more into the game, I think it is going to be a surprise hit this year. Because to be honest, I haven't seen too many people talking about it. The concept of sailing with complete freedom is rarely explored, and I think it'll suit the Switch perfectly. The idea of being able to go on hundreds of unique journeys with islands to explore, as well as lashings of that delightful naval combat, has put Sailforth firmly on my watchlist for 2020, and I can't wait to learn more about it. This is definitely a game that if you haven't seen yet, you need to look into, because honestly, I just don't think it's been appreciated enough. It looks amazing. Spiritfarer puts you in the role of the ferrymaster to the dead, who's tasked with transporting the deceased to the afterlife. This seems really dull, and to be honest quite morbid, but I'm shocked a game so focused on death can be so serene, but here we are. One of the standout parts of Spiritfarer is the focus on forging friendships with the characters you meet in this fantastical world. Sometimes we all need to step back and relax, and I think Spiritfarer will be a poignant way to do that when it launches this year. There seems to be a lot going on here that isn't obvious from the immediate onset, but I'm really interested to see where this one goes, and I think it's one to keep an eye on this year, hence its position on this list. I don't really need to explain Shantae to anyone at this point, do I? Part 1 is available on Apple Arcade right now, but the full fat release is coming to the Switch this year. All of the Shantae releases have been met to critical acclaim, and for good reason. I'm sure Sirens will be no different, a modern Metroidvania staple. This time, Shantae and friends are jetting off on a quest to find the remaining half genies, and if the other Switch releases are anything to go by, the Switch port will be fantastic. I know Shantae has a real hardcore set of fans, some of which do want her in Smash Bros. But this new game will have to do for now, so stay tuned for more on it when it comes out this year on the Switch. Okay, I've got a question here. How do Devolver keep doing this? They keep finding these incredibly unique and amazing games. And Carrion looks set to be another amazing indie experience that is packed with some crazy gameplay. You take control of an amorphous creature from the unknown and unleash hell on everyone in your way. What a twist. I know I get bored of always being the one getting chased, so why not play as the chaser? Too many horror games are focused on you being the one that's going to get killed. Why don't you let me do the killing? It looks disgusting in the best way possible, and I'm convinced this will be another hit for the kings of indie publishing. I got a decent amount of game time in with Monster Sanctuary at EGX again this year, and from what I played, I am really looking forward to seeing this one come into the Switch, hopefully this year. I've pinned it in as a 2020 release because I think it should be done for this year. It's a really fun take on the monster battling system, and I'm really looking forward to this one. It looks really nice, it plays really well, and I actually really like the monster designs, which I think a lot of games of this kind of genre struggle with. You know, Pokemon is obviously very iconic for having memorable designs, but other games lack it, and I think Monster Sanctuary has really nailed that. It's another Team 17 published indie, and I think they're going to smash it out of the park this year, and Monster Sanctuary is going to be one of those games. Now for a nice palate cleanser after the disgustingness that was Carrion. Phogs is adorable and everything I ever wanted from a puzzle game about a dog with two heads. I demoed this at EGX2, and from the small time I had with it, it certainly left a strong impression. It reminds me of Pode, which was a 2018 indie puzzle which came out on the Switch, and I think it will be as good if not better. It's got very similar themes and the charm is there in both. I am a sucker for puzzle games, and especially ones with a unique gimmick which works well. In Phogs, it really does. Phogs is up there with my most anticipated games this year, and hopefully it'll be barking and bouncing its way into the eShop before too long. Well, what a list. So many amazing indie games are coming in 2020, and I cannot wait to play them all, or at least buy them all, put them in my backlog, and then forget about them despite them being amazing. Which games are you going to be picking up this year though? Be sure to let us know in the comments below, and stick around for more great indie content. Thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, a like would be really appreciated, and subscribing helps us out too. See you soon, indie fans. Peace out.